What's up, everybody? Back here again with another video, and today we're back on the table. We're going to talk a little bit about tackle organization and specifically terminal tackle. Now, if you're like me and you don't have a huge boat with huge compartments, I have an older Skeeter, 19 foot, don't have a ton of room, so I have to make the most amount or the most effective amount of use of the space that I have in my boat. So one of the things that I've learned, and this is a shout out to my buddy Brian and some other people that I've kind of aped this idea off of, is how can you basically store 90 to 100% of your terminal tackle in 2 boxes? Well, I'm going to show you and tell you how I get this done. So first off, let's focus on this box. This is just a regular old, everyday, deep 3700 box. You don't have to get fancy with these kind of boxes. You can get any deep 3700. This one in particular is a Bass Mafia. And actually, I'm probably going to be changing this box out this year for a Plano Edge 3700 for a very specific reason. But right now, I'm running this Bass Mafia Coffin, I think they call it, 3700 deep. And then for my weights, I'm running a Bass Mafia just regular 3700 box, and there's another specific reason I'm running this box, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But let's talk about the primary box, the main hook box at the moment. So how do I get all of my hooks into one box? Let me show you. All you gotta do, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description, is you go to Amazon and you buy bulk plastic baggies. They sell these. They're very cheap. You can get big giant packages of them. Check the links in the description to get these. But what I do is I take all of the hooks that I purchase, I take the backing, like the board backing of the bag, and the hooks themselves, and they transfer them over to these really inexpensive, cheap baggies, which makes them all a uniform size to fit in the compartments of a deep 3700 box. And you get to keep the original packaging to see what the bait is, what brand, what size. It makes organizing and rifling through all of your terminal tackle really easy. So, buy the baggies, take all my hooks out, put them into these bags, shove them into 3700 deep. So how I organize my box is pretty straightforward. I got all the main kinds of hooks I use, plus miscellaneous stuff kind of down the bottom. Now, this is the box as it came out of my boat this year. I haven't resupplied it with some of the things that I'm going to use for this coming season, but this is kind of what I ended the year with. So start in the top left corner. Up here is all of my offset, regular offset shank worm hooks. So if you notice, these are the VMCs. I wrote what the size is on this, so it's a whole bunch of 2-aught. Then I got Gamakatsu 3-aughts, 3-aughts, some more 2s, some Owner 3-aughts, VMC 4-aughts. I think these are Trocar 2-aughts and 4-aught Gamis. So, you know, that's a lot of hooks and a lot of different types of sizes and brands, and I can easily know which is what by just rifling through the baggies. And when you shove them in, look how easy they slide in and out of that spot. So over here now I got my EWGs. These are probably the ones I use the most. You know, I got Gami 2s, 1s, 5s, regular 2, not a 2-aught, a big bag of VMC 4-aughts because I use those a lot for flipping. Some Gami 4-aughts, 3-aught Gamis, 3-aught VMCs, and then some Moostad 3-aughts. So all my EWG hooks. Now I have some stuff in the backlog. Like, I don't put all of my hooks in here. I just put as much as I think I'm going to need for the coming months. If I run out of something, I just resupply from my back stock. Now over here, all my flipping hooks. Got a lot of flipping hooks in here. Gami 5-aughts, some Trocars, various sizes. These are VMCs. 5-aught, 4-aught, bunch of Gami. I kind of go between the Finesse heavy cover hooks and then just the regular heavy cover hooks. So if you notice, most of my stuff is all Mustad or Mustad. Sorry, Mustad. What am I Italian or something? All my hooks are either Mustad, Gamakatsu, VMC, and some random Trocars. That's pretty much all the hooks I run because they're easy to get. Everybody's got them. And they're pretty good. So if you notice, I got a lot of flipping hooks, a lot of different sizes, a lot of different brands, all compressed and easy to get to. So I got offset shank, EWGs, flipping. This is my Finesse hooks. So I got some Owner 1-aughts, these Owner 1-aught wacky hooks. These Trapper drop shot hooks. So when I'm drop shotting a straight shank worm, like a robo worm, a straight tail worm, I usually bust out the Trappers. That's when I'm running the open hook. Let's see, I got some more owners. I got some small octopus hooks. And then these are my favorite. Actually, this is probably the hook out of all my finesse hooks that I use the most, the owner #2 cover shot. I started using these last year. If you notice, I bought a lot of them because they're amazing. They're great for Texas rigging. Worms are good for wacky worming. Like just outside of a drop shot, you can use these for just wacky fishing. But they're amazing drop shot hook as well. They're just kind of a one hook that does it all. I used to use a lot of the VMC Nikos, but I've almost just fully switched over to using these cover shots. So this is all my finesse hooks. These are all the Nikos. I don't use these as much as I used to, so I have a ton of these Nikko hooks, but they've all been basically deprecated by the owner cover shot. So I have a lot of these. I bet you I'm going to have these for a long time because I think the owner cover shot is slightly better because of the hook keeper that it has. So I don't know. I'm not going to go talk a lot about the owner cover shot. Just there's other videos that talk about it. Josh Douglas's video is really good. So check that out. So I got my finesse hooks, my Nikos, and then these are all swim bait hooks. So I got these big 5/0s for throwing mag draft freestyles, and then just random belly weighted swim bait hooks. There's one pack of power shot hooks because I didn't really have a different place to put them, but I do like power shotting or power shot, or I don't know, other names for it. Flip shotting, I guess people call it, but we call it power shot up here. So I got some of those hooks. I actually have a lot more of these. I just only have this one package right here in here. But yeah, so swim bait hooks, weighted swim bait hooks. Over here is all of my kind of finesse stuff. So I got a whole bunch of Outcast money jigs for throwing jig worms. Oh, this is actually in the wrong section. These are Pro V. These are shank worm hooks. So these actually should be up here. So not fully organized. Wrong place. And then I really love G-Finesse wacky weighted hooks. So if I'm fishing a wacky worm and I need some weight, the G-Finesse hooks are the only ones I'm using because the weed guard on these actually lasts. A lot of wacky weighted hooks, the weed guards break, come off, or they're just junk. The G-Finesse, you can use these for many, many, many different fish. Lots of catches over and over, and the weed guards pretty much stay in the spot they should be. They're a little more expensive, but they're worth it. Got a whole bunch of those. I keep spinnerbait trailer hooks in here, and then more G-Finesse. So if I'm going to run wacky worms with a weight, I'm all about the G-Finesse. That's pretty much the only thing I use nowadays. And you should too. And then, yeah, these Outcast money jigs are fantastic heads for jig worming. So if you're looking for a great jig worm head, the money jig is a must. So in here, I'm a little low, but I keep my bigger, more bulbous tube jigs, or I'm sorry, tube heads. So like these are the ones with a rattle. These are the big lead Bite Me 3/8, and this is a half. So I don't use these a lot, but if I am going to throw a tube deep on a bait caster, these are what I use. I have some just leftover all-terrain tackle swing heads. These are the cool ones because you can put whatever hook you want on them. It doesn't come pre-rigged with the hook, so you can change the hook up. Here's an example. Here's one of the Gamakatsu Finesse flipping hooks on one of the all-terrain tackle swing heads, and this makes a really great setup for throwing rage grubs or finesse craws. So if you're smallmouth fishing on the river or even on a rocky lake and you want to have a really cool football dragging setup, get the all-terrain tackle heads, put on a finesse flipping hook, and then like a 3/0, and this is really awesome for finesse crawfish. So I only have one rigged up because I've lost a bunch, but this is a great setup. Over here, these two compartments, all Ned rigs. I'm a big Ned rig guy. I fish Ned rigs a lot, and this is my whole Ned rig stash as it currently sits. I've mostly switched over to using the Outcast Tackle Josh Douglas Perfect Ned Head, so I got a whole bunch of those in various colors and sizes. 3/16, 3/32. I use the 3/16 a lot for deeper fishing. I kind of just use it like a shaky head, not so much a Ned rig, because it's, you know, kind of heavy. But I got some lighter heads, a lot of 1A. So this is my big giant Outcast Tackle Ned head stash. I'm actually pretty flush because I used them a lot in the fall, so I resupplied. So now over here is all of my Nikko weights, because I do like to use Nikko worms. So I'll actually have some of these Z-Man Finesse bullet weights that I haven't really used these too much but I have them. Bunch of nail weights. These are all just various Nikko weights that I'm trying to get through. Oh, and if you guys haven't heard about this, you can get these on Amazon. These are the Tactical Anglers Micro Power Fishing Clips. Now, these clips are fantastic for jerkbait rods. So if you have a jerkbait rod and you don't want to retie a jerkbait all the time to reattach and change out your jerkbaits, pick up some of these Tactical Angler Micro Power Fishing Clips. They're really good, really small, but very strong. Trout fishermen use these things a lot. And really easy way to switch out your jerkbaits really quickly. You could even use crankbaits on these too if you want. But anyway, that's why I keep a stash of these. I have one of these clips on my jerkbait rod all year long. Could even use it for a topwater if you wanted to. Let's see. Oh, here. So this is my stash of good Ned heads. These are my stash of other random Ned heads. Some of these were custom poured. Oop, I just dropped a bunch. Some of these were, let's see. These are Z-Mans. These were custom made by North Metro Bassing Association, MBNA or whatever. Steve, he pours these for us. So these are just kind of a hodgepodge of random other Ned heads. Oh, so I do like throwing 1/4 ounce tube heads. I like the VMC tube heads. So these are tube jig heads for smallmouth fishing, and then just a whole bunch of other random. There's some Nikko weights. So I just kind of have all my other Finesse Ned stuff in here, along with obviously a pack of tubes. I just dropped a bunch of these Ned heads. So these are like the cheapy Z-Man ones that suck, and the hooks bend and the barbs come out, so I don't really like those anymore, so I don't really use them. But anyway, I've got all of my terminal tackle in one 3700 box. It's easy to get to. It's easy to organize. I can restock really quickly because I know exactly what I have and what I don't have. Anyway, that's the terminal hook side. Let's look at the weight box. So this is the weight box as it came out of my boat at the end of the season. So it's not fully stocked, but let me show you what I ended up doing. So there's a reason I run this Bass Mafia coffin box. And the reason is I like to run loose shaky heads and loose drop shot weights. And the dividers on these Bass Mafia boxes sit flush with the lid. So you can have this box sitting on its side in your boat, smashing around, and nothing is going to get mixed. It's a perfectly concealed or perfectly sealed compartment. I like how rugged this is because I like throwing all my weights in here and knowing that they can smash around and jiggle, and I'm not going to open the thing up and have all my weights all over the damn place. So how I have this organized, if you can tell from the labels in here, I'll lift it up. I've actually labeled with a label maker all the different weights. So just show you in there. So label stickers really help. Get a label maker, borrow one, use one. They're cheap. They're like 10 bucks at Target. So over here I have all my drop shot weights. I got 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, half, and then 3/4 for when I'm power shotting. So obviously I'm a little low on stock on these weights at the moment. I'm going to resupply before summer. But so this is drop shots. This is all my Texas rig and flipping weights. So what's interesting is I decided to, instead of having all these weights, these are all tungsten, instead of having them loose, I put them in baggies. So for instance, here's my 3/16 stash of tungsten. So I put them in a baggie. I got a bunch of 3/16. They're all different. I don't know. They're mostly either customs from friends or they're Straight King. So I keep them in a little baggie. I throw them in the compartment. They don't move around. They don't chip. So it's a good way to like kind of put a whole crap ton of weights in one spot. And now they're kind of tight and compressed in this baggie and sitting in this compartment. The paint doesn't fall off. They don't really damage each other. So these are 1/8. Here's all my quarters. I throw a lot of quarter, so I got a ton of those. 3/8, half, and then 3/4. So here's like my big 3/4. I don't have a lot of 1 ounce. Actually, I don't have any 1 ounce weights in here right now because I actually don't find myself ever really need to flip with 1 ounce. So 3/4 is about the heaviest I go. So drop shot weights, flipping weights, Texas rig weights. Up here I have all of my bobber stops. So a whole bunch of bobber stops here. In the corner here, I don't really have another place to put these, but these are just my hair jigs. So I don't throw hair a lot, but if I do, I keep them in this little stash in a baggie. So these are the Outcasts Seth Fighter hair jigs. Keep them stashed up there. Now I throw a lot of shaky heads, and I like owner shaky heads. So these compartments are all owner shaky heads. So I got 1/16, 3/32, 1/8, 3/16, and up to 1/4. So I have more heads than this, but I just keep what I need, and when I restock, I put more in. I like owner shaky heads. I like them with floating worms. If you use these on a trick worm, they're just going to lay on their side and be dead. But if you use a floating worm, like a grande worm, or other various stick floating worms, then these owners are great. Really get a lot of good action. So owner, these are all owner shaky heads. I got a couple random underspins over here. I'm kind of running low on underspins. I need to probably restock, but I only got a couple. I actually don't throw underspins that much, but I do like having them if I feel I need to have them. Over here, I have a bunch of overstock. These are the VMC wacky weighted weed guard heads. These things are good for bites. Like, you don't lose fish on them, but the weed guards on these last maybe an hour, especially if you get a few bites. These things always break off. So I had a bunch of these, and I want to kind of just go through them because I use the Finesse ones now. So these are okay. I got a little stash I'm just trying to get through. But that's kind of about it. Oh, up here, these are the Power Finesse Z-Man heads. I like these up here for throwing jig worms and also for running the bigger Z-Man like worms. So I have these kind of stashed up here. I have various sizes. So these are the Z-Man Power Finesse heads. They're a little too big to throw into the baggies, and I kind of want to get to them quick. So Z-Man Power Finesse heads, all my drop shot weights, all of my flipping weights, all of my shaky heads, and then just some random hodgepodge shit right here. But what's cool is I got everything in one place. Heavy duty box, small compartments. The dividers don't move, so I know everything's going to stay in here. Things aren't going to get mixed. So this box is the one. I only own one of these, and it's specifically for weights. They're good boxes. They're a little expensive, but now you know why I have it. So anyway, like and subscribe on my channel if you want to see more stuff like this. I love talking about tackle. I love talking about rods. I love talking about organization. Hit like, hit subscribe. I got another couple videos looming. I got my big 2020 Rod and Reel Arsenal video coming up. I have some more Megabass rod reviews, like I'm going to talk about the Deimos pretty soon here. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.